Briscoe Brothers, everybody.
Yeah. So we watched a New Japan show.
Yeah.
Dominion, June 22nd.
Mm-hmm. Still on Ustream, everybody.
I can't say I know nothing about New Japan, but I know very little.
Vinny is aware that it's a promotion located in Japan.
I understand that it's new.
Actually, it's very older
old.
than you.
Yeah. I'm going to screw up all these names.
That's why you're leading this.
Yes.
Comedy purposes.
Every sentence you'll note I'm stalling. I'm hoping you'll say, let me handle this, Vinny.
No. Go ahead.
I'm going to read this. You were kind enough to email me the card. It was actually maybe a press release of what happened, but pre-match show, which we did not watch, was Jushin Liger and Tiger Mask versus Taka Michinoku and Taichi.
See, that's pretty good so far.
And 3 of these people I actually recognized.
You did not call him Justin Liger. Which my computer kept trying to switch it to Justin Luger. The autocorrect.
He is the guy who, he because of him, we called Todd Grisham TCS for a long time.
That's right.
Short for that cocksucker from the Benoit DVD.
What did he say?
I think he called him Jushin.
Well, really? I got that upset over that? There had to have been more.
I think it was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back.
Nice.
Probably not the first mistake he had made. But it's more just because he's doing the, I don't know how many of you have seen this, and I don't know how many of you are going to watch this now at this point. But
I just seem to recall he did commentary with like Benoit and Guerrero.
Yeah.
And they both clearly wanted to kick his ass.
Yes, that is the key. And he's asking questions. What did he ask? I don't remember any examples. I'm not going back to check. But he was asking questions that indicated he had no idea what the fuck was going on. And he was not asking questions like, what's it like to wrestle Liger? How many matches did you have? What's his style? He asked things like, why was he wearing red there? Or other just stupid shit. Anyway, Liger didn't win. Taichi pinned Tiger Mask with what this report says is the Taichi style Gato clutch.
Yeah.
It was a very wacky hold. 7:09 was the match time.
This was a dark match, believe it or not. Jushin Liger in a dark match.
That was pretty amazing.
He moves pretty good for being like, I think he's 48 now.
He's really old for a wrestler.
This is like
for a wrestler who has wrestled a very hard style. Didn't he have a tumor?
I believe so,
in
actually.
His brain?
Yes. I forgot about that.
Yes.
But, this is my goal when I return to wrestling, is to wear a full body suit and mask and wig. So I can continue to wrestle till I'm 200 years old and no one will know any better.
That's a good point.
Although I may slow down a little bit.
That's a good point. Pay-per-view started with the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championship. The Forever Hooligans, great name, Rocky Romero and Alex Kozlov versus the Time Splitters, I don't know what that means, of Kushida and Alex Shelley.
Well, they go from Japan back and forth so often that they travel 400 days a year.
I see. They had a fun match. I don't know. Actually, this was really good. I remember this now. I've watched a lot of shit today, but when it all blended together after a while. They had a very fun tag team match. A lot of action. Kozlov singing the Russian national anthem far worse than Nikolai Volkov ever did. And it was actually great. There was a Japanese crowd, which is a very different crowd than the American crowd, because when he ordered them, you will all stand and show your respect and be silent as I sing the Russian national anthem. They stood in respectful silence.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sung badly, and when he was done, they all applauded.
Yeah.
That made this the best show of the week.
That's their gimmick.
I guess.
He does this on all the shows. He says he's going to sing the anthem. He sings it absolutely horribly. They all stand, and then they cheer when he's done.
Yay! Sportsmanship, hurrah! So yes, they had a very fun tag match. Romero got the win with something called the Contract Killer from Kushida. Their first successful title defense.
Thought this match was awesome. I gave this 4.25 stars, believe it or not. Every single person involved in this match absolutely rules. They let Alex Shelley go. I'm talking about TNA because they're complete, absolute idiots.
Yeah.
Kozlov, I believe, if I recall correctly, was in WWE developmental, and he was let go. I'd have to go back and check. I forget. But he's awesome. And this was a great match. Awesome spots. And one of my favorite matches on the show, in fact. So check this one out.
We had a 6-man of Machine Gun Carl Anderson, Tama Tonga, and the underboss, Bad Luck Folly.
My favorite wrestler right now.
Which looks like it should be pronounced Bad Luck Fail.
That's the other reason I love it.
Even funnier. They face the trio of Yuji Nagata, Tomoaki Hanma, and Captain New Japan.
That's right. So, by the way, Kozlov was under WWE contract, and they released him. So, add that to the list.
Yeah.
What the hell's wrong with these idiots?
He's not tall.
Care.
Just saying.
They heard Vladimir Kozlov, for the love of God.
Yes. Well, speaking of WWE developmental, Tama Tonga is Haku's son, and I can't believe he's not there right now. He looked really good, and he's.
Let me talk more about Bad Luck Folly.
Son, go ahead.
His gimmick is he's the underboss, so I presume he's like a Yakuza. I may be wrong, but yes, when you read it in English, you would read it as Bad Luck Fail, which first off, that's the best name I've ever heard. He's got Bad Luck on, I believe, his front, and Underboss on the back. He's a big, I guess, kind of fat.
Imagine a tall Japanese man who is dressed as Doc as the Aces and Eights for Halloween.
But he's got like a bleached goatee, sunglasses. He's not very good, but he's a big fella. And his name is Bad Luck Folly.
Yeah.
What could be better? Captain New Japan.
Yeah, the story of this match, the babyface team had 2 great wrestlers and a clown. And Captain New Japan was a clown. He had the most Power Ranger looking outfit I've ever seen, including the Power Rangers themselves. It was also velour. So the 2 stud wrestlers went the whole way. They never tagged him in. And then as they were running wild, I think it was Nagata. He hit a big move.
And the fans wanted Captain New Japan in.
And Captain New Japan demanded a tag. And he threw his hand out there. And Nagata looked at him. And he looked at the people. And he looked at Captain New Japan. And he just shrugged and his body and facial language just screamed, "What the fuck?"
You can't win them all.
He knew this was doomed to fail. But he could not turn down the request of the fans. And he tagged in Captain New Japan, and New Japan ran wild for like a minute, and then he got pinned. Because Bad Luck Fail hit him with the grenade, which is a choke slam into the Asiatic spike.
Yes. Which looks horrible.
Of course it does.
I mean, he kind of gets him over the choke slam, he kind of thumbs him in the neck.
Yes.
It's even better because it's Bad Luck. I'm just going to call him Bad Luck Fail. It's his new name. It's his name. It's a new pronunciation of his name. But he's my favorite wrestler. Captain New Japan is like, he has his gimmick, but they give him a little bit of credibility. Like, just a little. So, he's not like a complete Santino. You know what I mean? But this match was a 1.75 I gave it. It was entertaining for what it was. I never need to see it again, ever.
Match 3. The IWGP Tag Team Championship 3-way with the champions, Hiroyoshi Tenzan and Satoshi Kojima.
Good.
Versus first team of Toru Yano and Takashi Iizuka. Versus the Killer Elite Squad, which is a great name, of, I believe it's Lance Archer and Davey Boy Smith Jr.
Yes.
Yeah.
Someone can explain this, Alan or somebody can explain this if I'm wrong. But my understanding was Tenzan and Kojima, the team name, they had the team name of Ten Koji for Tenzan and Kojima.
Yeah.
Ten Koji. But the lineup that I sent you had them listed as 10 cozy.
Yeah.
Like, it's awfully cozy in here.
And there's 10 of us. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe it is 10 cozy.
I can't tell you. I only got one thing to say about this. There was a spot here where the American team got thrown outside, the Killer Elite Squad, and they taped Smith and Archer to the guardrail, just with like plain athletic tape, and they had to then pretend they could not escape without help. But probably for the better of the match, that if you tape Lance Archer to a guardrail and have the other guys do the work inside the ring.
Lance Archer has improved a lot,
I'm sure he has.
as has Davey Boy Smith. This match was fine.
He was always his work was always fine. He was just bland. But I will be honest. I left to make a phone call here, and when I came back 5 minutes later, the match was over.
Kojima pinned Archer. I gave it 2.5 stars. It was fine. There was a ref bump. There were some gimmicks. Tenzan and Kojima. I remember I watched them a lot in like the early 2000s. They're much older now, obviously.
So am I.
So are you. But it was all right. It was fine.
For the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, Rob Conway versus Manabu Nakanishi.
Yes. I was waiting to see this. I don't watch a lot of Japanese pro wrestling, but when I heard this match, I knew trouble was coming. I remember Nakanishi years ago, and he is also much older. Lost the hair, doesn't do the wacky dance as much as he used to. Rob Conway is the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. And what the hell is the...
I don't even know, and I don't care.
New Japan...
Oh, no.
Or the NWA.
There was an NWA suit out there.
Oh, God, I knew his name as I was doing the show, and then I just totally blanked.
Bruce something?
Bruce Tharp. Bruce Tharp is out there to introduce him. And my notes read, and I quote, "Perfectly fine bad match." It was, exactly as I expected, a bad match. But as far as bad matches go, it was fine. That makes sense, everybody? Like, it could have been a much worse bad match.
I've seen many matches worse than this.
I gave it 1 star.
This is much better than CM Punk and Darren Young.
Actually, yes, it was. Now, don't get me wrong. It was very bad. Mostly because of Nakanishi.
Yeah.
He is really bad. Rob Conway is just like, Rob Conway, just imagine straight out of Ohio Valley, going to Japan to face old Manabu Nakanishi.
Rob
exactly
Conway
what we got.
was an old school Southern heel here in a 2013 Japan match where he was about to drop a leg. He said, "I'm going to break his neck." He dropped a leg, and he made a cover, and Nakanishi kicked out. And so he said, "I'm going to break his neck again." And then at a random point, he just stopped wrestling. He just shouted out, "Japan sucks!"
Yeah.
And no one cared.
It was a perfectly fine bad match.
The styles clash.
I don't think there's any style that does not clash with Manabu Nakanishi nowadays.
Not sure what style that would be. That's a good point. Match 5. Shinsuke Nakamura and Tomohiro Ishii versus Minoru Suzuki and Shelton X Benjamin.
Yeah.
I don't know. Most of this was Ishii and Suzuki. It was like 80% of it was a singles match between those two. And the other guys just came in and hit some high spots.
Suzuki beat the hell out of Ishii. And when the match was over, they had a wild brawl afterwards, so apparently this is going to be next.
Yeah.
I'm a gigantic Minoru Suzuki fan. I think he's awesome. He's just a mean, old, angry, grizzled veteran with a ponytail, and the rest of his head is shaved, and he shaves designs into his buzzed head. And I tried to talk Whitney to let me do that with my hair, and she actually seemed open to the idea. I've had many bad haircuts. This wouldn't be the first or the last. And Nakamura, it looks so road-owned. I don't know if this is like just something new. It looks like he's been road-owned a lot more in the last year or so, couple of years. Maybe it's the haircut. Maybe he's always looked like this. I don't know, but he just looks rough. But they had a pretty good match. Shelton Benjamin beat Nakamura clean with the pay dirt. So obviously they love Shelton and they want to do something with him because that's a very big win. And it's pretty good. Not a great match or anything like that, but this was a pretty good match. Shelton looked pretty good. He still moves all right, even though he's almost 40. And
is he really?
Oh yeah, he's like 38 or something like that, if I recall correctly. Let's find out.
Wow.
How old do you think he was?
I guess that makes sense, doesn't it?
It's in developmental in the 90s. 37 years old.
Yeah.
Almost 38. Actually, Jesus, he's younger than me. Anyway, point is, he's too old to be jumping around so much. That's what I have to say about that. This was fine. It's pretty good.
We had Kazushi Sakuraba come out, announce his return. He challenged Yuji Nagata. Notes here say he's been out of action since April 7th's invasion attack, which seems very redundant. He suffered a right arm dislocation while competing in a tag team match against Yuji Nagata.
Yeah.
Match 6, and definitely the most memorable match on the show. Tetsuya Naido versus Yujiro Takahashi in the most violent pro wrestling match I have seen, seriously, in years. These dudes beat the fuck out of each other.
I think you're confused. The Goto Shibata match, they killed each other.
Oh, fuck.
Naido and Takahashi.
Oh, no, you're right. You are very right. You are very right. Naido, okay, yes. Goto and Shibata beat the fuck out of each other.
Well, which one are we talking about now?
We're talking about Naido.
All right. Naido was returning.
Save the show.
And he faced Yujiro. They've had about 8 million matches together. And Naido looked great in this match. Both looked good, but Naido looked great. And he won. I gave it 3 3/4 stars. I thought it was very good. I don't really know what else to say about it.
The big thing I got out of Naido here was he hit a couple of very basic moves, but they were very basic moves that looked awesome. Like he hit the flying forearm off the ropes, like Shawn Michaels has done in every match since 1993. Only when Naido did it, I thought, holy crap, that's the best flying forearm I ever saw. Then he immediately hit a German suplex, and I thought, holy crap, that's a great German suplex. And then he hit a twisting press thing off the top rope, which is a little more complicated. But okay, then we had the ultra-violence display. Hiroki Goto versus Katsuyori Shibata. These are the two men that beat the fuck out of each other.
He's coming back from knee surgery. That's what it was. He had knee surgery.
Who did?
Naido.
I see. Well, by the end of this, Goto and Shibata should have had surgery on everything. They needed an everything transplant.
I don't know if I'd give this match 5 stars, but this match was awesome. This was as much of a fight as you could have in pro wrestling. In fact, I'd rather get in a fight than have a pro wrestling match like this.
Yes.
Because at least in a fight,
you can defend yourself.
I could try to defend myself. I could try to protect my face.
And if you get in a bad spot, the ref will save you.
Yeah, not here.
These guys spent 15 minutes in a bad spot, and there was no one to save them.
Absolutely killed each other.
Carnage.
Absolutely. If you want to, like... okay, there's pro wrestling fans. You love pro wrestling for what it is. And then there's mixed martial arts. And there's a lot of pro wrestling fans, as all of us listening to this are well aware, that they love pro wrestling, but they don't like mixed martial arts. Because there's something about pro wrestling, I don't know if it's just they grew up with it, the ropes, the high flying, the wacky spots, whatever it is, that even though pro wrestling is fake mixed martial arts, in fact, they don't like real mixed martial arts. They find it boring or whatever the case might be. If you, as a pro wrestling fan, are one of those people and you don't like mixed martial arts, but you want to see a pro wrestling match where you can pretend that you're actually watching two guys fight under the rules of pro wrestling, and they're having a real fight, and they're going to be doing wrestling moves in a wrestling ring in the middle of this real fight, this is the match for you. This was a pro wrestling real fight. Just beat the piss out of each other. Kicked each other in the face, punched each other all over, dropped each other on their heads, just lariats to the neck. Just like the most violent. Like, never have a match like this, everybody.
No, this is bad for you.
I am hesitant to praise this match so much because I'm sure there's a youngster listening that is going to watch this match and go, man, someday I'm going to have a match like Goto and Shibata.
No.
Don't do that.
Don't ever do this.
These guys should never do this again. Like, maybe if you're a pro wrestler, like one time in your life, if you're going to win the championship or you're in a championship match and it's like in the biggest show of the year for like a promotion that actually matters. So really like maybe WWE or maybe the Tokyo Dome. That's about it. Like maybe you should do one match like this, but don't do this regularly because you're just going to end up all screwed up. They killed each other.
So with all that said, the finish was Shibata laid Goto on the mat, lifted him up into a sitting position, hit the ropes, kicked him in the face as hard as he could, and pinned him.
Yeah.
All right.
He put him in a sleeper. The ref checked the arm, and Goto was not quite going to sleep, but he was kind of half asleep. So Shibata put him on the mat and then kicked him in the face and pinned him.
Yeah.
This was like this was something else. I don't know what to say about it. It may win match of the year.
It was very memorable.
Certainly a match you won't forget quick. outrageous. That's what this was.
It was outrageous.
It's just, I have no other way to describe this except it was outrageous.
Match 8. Special single match. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Prince Devitt.
Yes!
Yeah. The other match, I will not lie, the other match is more memorable. This was better.
Thing with New Japan is, like, I know that there were, I don't want to say everybody, I don't even know how many people, but I know there were some people that were upset at the idea that there was going to be interference in this match, or that there are matches in New Japan where people run in and the ref is distracted, and American-style stuff in your New Japan matches. But you know what? What was great about this show is that there was all sorts of different stuff.
Yes, I was just thinking that exact same thing.
There was that opening match, the dark match, with just, some old guys just having a basic. Although there was a ref bump and gimmicks in that match, I might add. But you had an awesome high flying tag team match. You had just kind of an undercard 8-man or whatever with Bad Luck Fail. You had your 3-way for the tag titles with the legendary tag team Tenzan and Kojima, and then some other guys, including the Americans, Lance Archer and Davey Boy Smith, just a 3-way tag. And you had the fight of death. You had the return match, which was just great pro wrestling. You had the tag match. And then you had this, which was Prince Devitt, who is a heel, and he's got an evil heel faction, which, by the way, includes Bad Luck Fail.
True.
And he was going up against the long-time multi-time Hall of Famer Hiroshi Tanahashi, and he cheated at every turn because he's going to beat this guy.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he did. And his evil heel team kept trying to interfere, and finally they managed to get him. They got Tanahashi, and Devitt hit him with I guess it's a DDT. It's more a brain buster. I mean, it's basically a brain buster.
He dropped him on the top of his head.
Oh, yeah, he killed him. And got the pin and won. And it was fabulous. Prince Devitt is a great wrestler.
Yes.
Tanahashi is a great wrestler. And I know it's not pure to have just two great wrestlers having a great match when a bunch of dudes run in for the heel. But you know what? Awesome. I like Prince Devitt, the evil heel with the evil diabolical crew.
I love his entrance and his exit, which is right into the ring on Bad Luck Fail's shoulders.
Yeah.
That's great. So he comes out and they put him up on the apron and the lights go out and suddenly his jacket begins to blink. And it says R&R on the back because he calls himself the Rock and Roller. And obviously they do not speak Japanese, but
or English half the time.
I barely speak English. But they clearly mentioned Chris Jericho's name here, so I assume they're just saying, this guy is ripping off Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
And then the match started, and Tanahashi is such a great babyface. He never whined. He never complained. He just, when a guy tried to interfere, sometimes he got interfered with and he got hit, but sometimes he saw them coming and he cut them off at the pass. Like the highlight was, guys get up in the apron and he'd hit him, and he'd hit a drop kick or whatever. But then two guys jumped up on the apron in the same corner, and he hit a flying body press into the corner that knocked both of them off and left him on top of the turnbuckle. That was awesome. And they wrestled, and yes, at the end, finally, it was 4-on-1, and there was too much interference, and Devitt hit his lifting DDT brainbuster thing that looked like it killed him, and then he won. And that was excellent.
And you know what I love about New Japan? You got a guy like Prince Devitt, and he has this match here, and he faces Hiroshi Tanahashi, who I believe was the last champion. I may be wrong, but I'm almost positive. Just lost the title a while back. In fact, I'm 99.9% positive.
Actually, even I'm sure of that.
So he faced the last champion. He beat him, albeit via outside interference, and he because he is the IWGP Junior Champion, and he beat the former champion at the next New Japan iPay-per-view, which is coming up in, I think it's July 5th, for the IWGP Junior title. Prince Devitt is in the main event. He is the main eventer, the final match on the show. He is defending his title against Gedo. I can't even like think of I can't even think of any sort of way to describe this to American fans. This match here,
This logic.
this idea that like at Money in the Bank, because like Daniel Bryan beat Randy, I can't even come up with something comparable. But you know what? Awesome. Prince Devitt against Gedo in the main event for the IWGP Junior title is great, and it makes sense. Dude just beat Tanahashi. He's the champion. Let him finish out this pay-per-view. That's awesome. And Bad Luck Fail is on the show as well.
The main event of this pay-per-view was for the IWGP Heavyweight title. Champion, look at this name. Kazuchika Okada. Okada's very easy. Against Togi Makabe.
Yep.
See, I would have thought Makabe. But I wouldn't lie. I was burned out by this point. It was a very long match. 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I will also not lie. About halfway through, I realized that I had these men mistaken the entire time. I remembered Okada being blonde, and
you could ask,
I could have. It's more fun this way. Makabe had a ridiculous blonde perm, which I compared to Josh Koscheck, and you actually far more accurately compared to Harley Race.
Yeah, you look like Harley
You
Race.
look like Harley Race. You had the belly of Harley Race too, and yeah, it was very, very long. It looked fine. Okada has an amazing dropkick, and he eventually won with the Rainmaker, which is his short arm lariat.
Vinny's downplaying this match.
I'm sure I'm doing a horrible job.
It was a long show. That's no lie. And the first half of this match, I was kind of like, okay, I've watched a lot of Japanese pro wrestling in the last 4.5 hours. But by about the halfway mark, this match became awesome. And the last 5 minutes absolutely ruled. And
I will say, in my defense, I did note to you and your wife that the crowd was going ballistic insane.
Yes.
To the point where it was coming out distorted on the sound.
Yeah, last 5 minutes was out of this world, and the match itself, actually, speaking of different styles, this was, I don't want to say this was like a WWE style match, but if you just compare this to like the Goto Shibata match, obviously, or a lot of the other matches on the show, this match would have fit in on a WWE pay per view, and I think the fans would have understood it, and I think they would have gone, well. I don't know if they would have gone crazy for it because they didn't know either guy. But if they knew either guy, this would have fit right in as a great main event on a WWE pay-per-view. And WWE was interested in Okada because, yes, he's tall! So they look for, But he stayed with New Japan. He's the champ. Had a great match with Makabe here. And this show was awesome. This match was great. Devitt Tanahashi was great. Goto Shibata was awesome. Romero and Kozlov against Kushida and Shelley, awesome. And you also got to see Bad Luck Fail. And, the Naito and Takahashi match was awesome. So, basically, if you want to see an awesome pay-per-view, this is it. You go to Ustream/NJPW, and you should be able to buy it there on the right-hand side of the screen. If you click that video on demand, Dominion. It's called Dominion, June 22nd, from the Bodymaker Coliseum, I believe it's called, in Osaka. So, fabulous show. 2 thumbs up. I'm sure we'll talk about it more with Dave tomorrow on Wrestling Observer Radio. But anyway, we're out of here, everybody.